Now that you've registered for your exam, it's time to prepare. You might be asking, what can I do to best prepare for success on exam day? If you go to community.ultrix.com and look in the left sidebar or in the right node here, you can see that we have Ultrix Academy, and this is a great way to really deep dive into content in preparation for your exam day. Inside Ultrix Academy, there are a few different modalities that will help you inside your experience. If you'd like to review the fundamentals and basics, go to Interactive Lessons, where they will do a deep dive on particular tools or processes, and you can learn how to best apply those within your exam. If you'd like to spend hours on a particular subject, go to our live training page. Here we have a lot of upcoming live trainings that you can attend, or a lot of past series that you could view as a playback. For example, I could watch something on dynamic inputs and figure out how I would accomplish that inside of Alteryx using this playback. Finally, weekly challenge. Especially with those 3-point questions that are really difficult in understanding how different tools apply in different ways, trying your hand at weekly challenge can give you the requisite knowledge to perform your best on exam day. If you'd like to browse different challenges you have available to you, go to the weekly challenge index and you'll see that there's a breakdown of level of difficulty and the main subject being covered. So for our core designer exam, try to focus on the level of difficulty between beginner and intermediate. The one last place to really read up on before exam day is going to the Ultrix knowledge base. Within the Ultrix knowledge base, we have a tool mastery series that deep dives into every single tool. I'm going to go to the tool mastery index, and I would recommend that everybody bookmark this for exam day. Here you can see a breakdown of all the different tools. If I were to click into one particular tool, it gives a full breakdown on how to use that tool and other people's use cases for that tool. Now let's talk about how to attack questions on exam day. Here I'm showing one question. In this question, you can see that I am being asked how an overall data structure is transformed from this view into this view. If I'd like to zoom up on it, I can use this magnifying glass, and I can view that how key fields, data, and data values are oriented versus my end result. And what it's asking is what tool is used to get from this state on the left to the state on the right. The first thing to do before approaching the question is to understand your timing within the exam. On the Designer Core exam, there are 80 questions across 2 hours. On average, that comes out to about 90 seconds a question. However, some questions are more difficult than others. The more difficult questions are worth 3 points, whereas easier questions are worth 1 point. With that in mind, stagger your timing based on question difficulty. If the 3-point questions show up, you can expect almost to spend 3 times the time to get to the correct answer. So maybe you're better off served trying to go about 45 seconds for 1-point questions, whereas you could go over 2 minutes for the 3-point questions. Now, how do I attack this question? The first thing you should do to be successful is pick up contextual clues that can help you reduce your options before digging deeper. So in this case, we're going to look at our image and take a few notes of things. You may know roughly that since data is being moved around in different angles, this is more of a transformation type of tool. However, we can't really pinpoint what transformation tool it is. Secondly, I noticed that my missing tool only has 1 input and 1 output. This is a major clue because if it had 2 outputs, that could narrow down what type of tool it is. I'm going to exit out of this view and look down at our options. Knowing that it's a transform option, I can narrow my 5 choices down to 3. However, I might be stuck and want to look for more information. This is an open book exam, and there are a couple things that you can do to be successful. Let's jump into the Ultrix Designer. First, I'm going to go up and look up one of these tools. So let's look up Transpose. Inside Transpose, you can see that I have the tool to drag onto my canvas, but I also have an example. Below, I have the different help documentation that I can click into and read more about the Transpose tool. If I return to the designer and open up my search again, I could look into different community discussions that are going on and view how that works. Finally, I can go back, and within some of these tools, we have one tool examples. I'll browse through the data. I can run the workflow to see how that data is being transformed, but you will notice that one interesting thing is happening. I have this graphic here, which looks identical to that of my exam. So if I return to my exam question and just do a quick comparison to make sure everything looks okay, which it does, I can confirm that it's transpose. If I were to have searched crosstab and looked at the example there, you can see that the structure looks quite different. You'll find as a main theme across the exam that any of the information contained in questions like these are readily available in our documentation one way or another. Again, the resources that you have available to you are the help documentation, the community forums and knowledge base, the sample workflows, and the one tool samples. Good luck and happy testing.